What's up, you punk bitches? We're back. Well, I'm back. Tran
Oh yeah,
making an appearance after a while, dude. It's been a minute.
it's been quite a minute. Life has just been going on, and there's just seems like a lot's been happening with everybody. So it's
Yep.
always good to be on the show.
Yeah, man. Hey, we're excited. We're going to break down Dungeons and Drag routes. This is our last week here, week
Yep.
14, I believe. Yes, week 14, the last of the regular season matchups.
hmm
I'm just looking through the standings here, Tran. Um, what, from your perspective, what all did anything really change with last week?
Actually, just a slight bit. The biggest things that I'm kind of watching out and slightly nervous about is even my own positioning. I've got
Mm-hmm.
a I've got a one game win over Jonathan right
Mm-hmm.
now, and I've got a few characters that are questionable, or a few players that are questionable. So, I mean, Cam's probably going to be an easy beat, but you always have those random like jump weeks where every single one of their players just explodes, and then because if I lose this one, I just have to score higher than Jonathan, but that could be my one seed on my division at risk or the first round bye.
Yeah, because if he let's I'm looking at y'all's scoring difference right now. It's
hmm
about 12 points or so. Looks
Give or
about
take.
yeah,
Yep. So
about give or
whoever's
take 12.05 is actually what it actually looks like. So if he scores 12.06 more than you and you lose to dude, there ain't no way you're losing to Cam.
I don't think so, but it's kind of nerve wracking still.
Oh, agreed, 100%. Like I know I'm gonna beat Keith's ass this week, but it's still, it's just a little scary.
Yeah. Well, and you definitely know his team has the high ability to just explode. Now he's got guys like Sky Moore in there that aren't getting it quite as much anymore, but
No, I don't know
no,
what's going. Well, the crazy
yeah,
thing is, man, is like so you're projected for a big win. You got 64% percentage
yeah,
for a win this week, but Jonathan he hasn't messed with his roster yet. He's got like 5, 6 players.
no,
He got hit hard with the buys this week,
yep.
the dreaded week 14 buys. But freaking Toby has a 68% chance of winning right now, right now.
Tob Toby's team is, and I said it at the beginning of the season, it is so sneakily good. Like he's got such high upside on all of his guys that if they explode, they kill. Like I was begging myself, even though I had Keenan Allen and noobs, I was like, don't score, just don't score. And of course, he scored, and
Of course.
I won but lost. So
No,
yeah,
I
those
feel you.
I actually think Toby can probably pull it off, which would
Well, he
keep my
can. Go
keep my
ahead. I'm sorry.
position. Oh, I was just gonna say, it's just gonna keep my position.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So, I mean, with a win this week, you would secure the number two
Yeah.
pretty, pretty easily. I don't think you're getting the number one.
Yeah, well, no, definitely not the number one.
Yeah, I
Just
mean, even if
yeah.
I lost, you wouldn't be able to.
No,
Actually, I'm looking at it here. There's no way that I could lose the number one seed,
no,
even with a loss.
yep,
There's
yeah,
no
you're
way.
so far ahead in points.
Yeah.
It's gonna be ridiculous.
Well, that's. I mean, that's kind of good though. I mean, obviously, it's good for me, but like just kind of figuring out like where the lay of the land is.
Yeah,
So, definite number one seed is going to be me. Um, I I'd be willing to bet you get the number two seed. I would say
me
that's
too.
a pretty distinct possibility. And then let's see who Clint's got because it's between Clint and Jonathan. He's got a
Uh,
one game lead on
yeah,
Jonathan,
yep,
and he's got a lot more points too. So even with
yeah,
a loss, Clint is going to be the three seed.
yep.
So
And
then
then
we got a little bit of drama then for the four seed.
yeah, now I think Nick is completely out regardless, even if he beats. Because who's he playing?
Nick is
He's
playing.
he's playing Jason.
Gotcha.
So yeah, even if he beats Jason, he would have to outscore him by what, over 100? No, like 80
It would have to.
points plus.
Yeah, dude, it would have to be. It actually have to be about 250 points.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's so right now Jason's sitting at 2157 and Nick's at 1871. Nick's
Yep.
gone. He's
Yeah.
gone.
So there's no way. There's just it's
I
not
mean,
happening.
so this is what I would say then. We have our six teams in the playoffs.
Yeah.
There's nothing really that can happen. to knock these teams out.
Well, no, Jason is the obvious five.
Yeah,
After all that, but this is where that race with Keith and Jay snuck up out of nowhere.
that is
Uh,
very true. And I would
yeah.
say that Jason has a slight chance to be the number 4 seed. He's
Hmm.
only about 34 points behind Jonathan.
Yeah, and he's not
Um,
far off.
and they're 8-5. They're both 8-5.
Yeah, and Jonathan's
So
got the what do you call it? He's got the Mageddon where like all of
yeah,
his guys are out.
and I would say Jason's projected for about 190 points right now. I haven't checked and see, and
Yeah.
it looks like he's fielding a full team. It looks like a full strength team.
Yep.
So yeah, I would say Jason he could definitely get the 4.
He
I
probably
don't.
will
So
leapfrog it.
so regardless, we'll say Jason or Jonathan at 4, and then
Yeah.
same at 5, and then like you said, take us through that the Keith and the Jay thing.
So I mean they're literally what? They are own oh well,
Let's see.
no, it looks like Keith scored quite a bit this time. He's about 50 points ahead right now.
He
So
is. He's been
but
dropping like doo-doo games here lately.
he really hasn't. That's the one thing that I'm slightly concerned with. Like, I mean, he's got to field guys that aren't on the field as much. The snap count's low, and
Yeah.
he's been scoring so bad that it's not going to be unbelievable if Jay just leapfrogs him.
I'm gonna do the math real quick just to see. So 56.25 points. That
Yep.
is the lead that in points that Keith has over Jay. And it doesn't like those are the only two that I yeah. Those are the only two that would be able to get that 6th spot.
And I think the guys on Jay's team that's probably going to make the biggest difference for him is going to end up being guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown and Herbert
Mhm.
and Stevenson getting the full backfield because those
Yeah.
guys can just go off anytime, and especially how big Brown can get.
Mhm. I mean, and I sit here and I look at Justin Herbert, and he's playing Miami this week. Miami
Miami
is not a
sucks.
great defense, and
Hmm.
they're going to score a shitload of points. Miami is. So
Yeah,
the Chargers are going to have to try and keep up. So I mean, Herbert's projected for 31 points right now. I could see him dropping a 40 burger pretty
easy.
easily.
And isn't he getting Mike Williams back too? I don't know
I
if
have Mike
they're.
Williams. Oh, I'm sorry, Justin Herbert.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
will let you know. Sorry. Let's see. I don't think so.
I know he's
Oh, he's
like,
questionable right now.
yeah. I knew they were talking about how he might be almost ready. I'm not sure if he will be though.
Yeah, I mean, it says he's supposed to. Let's see. He was limited on the practice report
When's
today.
Yeah.
So
Just depends on which way he goes in the next
yeah,
few.
I think it would depend, but I could still see Herbert putting up something. I mean, he could target freaking Austin Eckler 15 times and get
Yeah.
like 150 yards out of him.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. So really, we got our six teams
Yep.
in the playoffs. There ain't nothing going to change about that.
No.
Depending, well, we'll say I would say it's a tall task for Jay to outscore him by 56 points.
By too much. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm going to look and see what they did last week because Jay scored a lot of points against me. Jay had 174 last week,
And then
and on
he
a
only had.
really down week for Keith, he had 133.
Yeah.
Let's just see what that looks like real quick.
So that's a 40 pointer almost.
That's a 40 point, yeah. But yeah, that's 40.96 points, so almost 41 points.
I
It
mean,
would
it's
have to
well.
take something catastrophic, in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't see. Who's his replacement quarterback this week? Carr.
For Keith,
Yeah. No. It's not Carr. It's
Cousins.
Cousins. Oh yeah, Cousins is easily. Yeah, he'll do fine. He'll
Man,
easily
he'll do.
2 at a minimum to Jefferson.
I would think so. Against Detroit, yeah. And
Yeah.
and the great thing about Detroit is they put up a ton of points too. So
Oh my
he's
God.
gonna make them push him. He's gonna push him for sure.
Speaking of Detroit, I'm excited for Jameson Williams when he finally starts to actually start getting more snap counts next year, that kid looks like he's going to be special.
Yeah, I mean, who do you know who ended up grabbing him in our league
Of
this
course,
year?
of course, the one guy that doesn't trade much, Nick.
Oh, damn.
I know. I mean, he
Ah,
Nick is fielding a good team now too. Like he's got so many missing pieces. If he gets those pieces and they stay consistent for him, which it's hard to do, he's gonna have a scary team in like 2 years.
I agree, man. I actually think he's got a. Yeah, I mean, he's got the Burrow and Chase connection.
Oh
He needs running backs like a motherfucker,
no, I
like
know. He
bad.
just got because I think he has because he has literally all um what do you call it Jets players. He's got so many of them.
Yeah, that's not a great. I mean, I'm
No,
looking at it right here. He's got Denzel Mims.
yeah.
Why? Braxton Berrios. Why?
Why? I mean,
And
like
then
he's got Algier and Singletary, but here's the thing: I drafted. I actually think now I won the trade with Sky Moore and Mechie since Mechie's not going to be around possibly until like 2 years minimum, and then
yeah,
Sky Moore's not doing much, and we're just slowly seeing James Cook, being implemented into the Buffalo offense quite more now.
yeah, yeah. Agreed. Yeah, it's going to be. But I mean, I'm looking at his IR right now. He's got Brandon Cooks,
Oh, I know.
Rashad Bateman as well. Like he's got a good core
He
of young
does.
wide receivers.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He's stashing them too. Because I
Yeah.
looked at it
So
and I was like, and he's got Jahan Dotson too.
does he? This fucker.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he snuck by so many young talent.
So that's. I mean, I tell you, you're. I think you're on the money, man. Because like he's got. This is a legit team. Like he's if he can. If, let me see what does he have.
He's got
What's he got
he's
for
got
draft picks? He's got his all of his draft picks for 2023.
Yep. So he's gonna be able
I
to at
mean,
least get something.
I'm just trying to let me look at his team real quick and see like because I don't really think he's in rebuild mode anymore. But he definitely this is what I would say about him. He definitely needs to hit on a
Running
first round
backs.
running back. Yep.
Yes.
And even a
Easy.
second, I mean, a second round running back from this past year was Damian Pierce. He
Yeah.
and regularly in dynasty leagues, he was going in the mid second. So
Yeah.
if he could hit on somebody like that in the 2023 class, which is supposed to be very deep, I
It
don't
is
know.
very deep. I'll probably try
So
to trade into it too.
I think
But
I
I mean
still
he
got two
I mean just
first.
look at his flex and core on his wide receiver. He's got Chase, McLaurin, Jamison Williams. He's got what do you call it? Where's
He's
he
got
at?
Rashad Bateman, Brandon
Rashad
Cooks.
Bateman, Jahan Dotson.
I
So
like
he's
Wandale Robinson too. Honestly, I think
oh
Wandale
yeah,
Robinson's going to be good.
me too. So I think he's got quite a good set of wide receivers once he gets in. Like if he gets running backs this year, running back next year, with some mix of wide receivers and tight ends, he's gonna be fine.
And I think Greg Dulcich, Jesus, I think he's a good tight end as well.
He is. I'm just still concerned about Russell Wilson playing
Yeah.
well right now.
I think we all, yeah, Russ, I don't know what the hell happened to that. That's freaking weird as hell. But I don't know, man. This is what I would say. You know what? I think it's perfect that I got you on the show. So we've already kind of talked about the playoffs. It's
Yep.
between Keith and Jay. Jay's got to outscore him by a fuckload. I
Quite.
personally don't see that happening.
No.
Um, so Keith and I think we broke down the playoff thing pretty well last week. So maybe going into the playoffs, after we figure out what happens with this week, we'll break down the actual matchups. But I want to get your opinion on how some of these teams near the bottom, let's say Bryson, Corey, um, Toby, even Cam. Oh, actually, Cam is doing what he needs to do.
Cam's fine. I think
Yeah, he's
Cam's
rebuilding in
fine.
the great way. Actually, he got fucking 4 first rounders off of me for Christ's
I
sake. Like,
know. I know. I was so sad with it. Um, yeah, no, I mean, I think a lot of the lower ones we can go over most of them. Like with Bryson, he just needs to trade. I mean,
yep.
he's got great guys in, Pat Mahomes. Thank goodness he got Brian Robinson. Like I tried to trade for AJ Dillon like 2 years straight, and he wouldn't react to any of it. And I'm like, dude, I was gonna give him a first for AJ because I anticipated him taking over
Damn.
Aaron Jones. Well, just because I anticipated him taking over Aaron Jones this year. Um, and it just didn't happen. But if I had Dylan, it wouldn't matter. Even giving up first, if one gets hurt, I can count on the other. So I wasn't too terribly concerned with that.
Oh,
Um,
with you having Aaron Jones, giving up a first for him makes a lot more sense. I'm
yeah,
all right with that.
yeah. But then he's got guys that are really good, but guys like Thielen are going to continue aging. I mean, he's still right now an ageless wonder, but you know he's got good core pieces. He just does not trade at all, and I can't even really say he's drafted so well recently because he got unfortunately Trey Sermon. He's got like nobody
He
really.
he got Garrett Wilson last year.
Yeah.
That looks like it's going to work out.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson's going to be great, but that's honestly I think beyond Pat Mahomes his best player. Maybe Byron Robinson.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
I do like I like Garrett Wilson as a dynasty asset. I think he's. I mean, honestly, dude,
absolutely.
if I was him after last year, I would have traded Cordero Patterson
Me
for
too.
at least. I mean, I don't know if you could have got a first for him, but at least a couple seconds. Somebody probably would have gave you a couple seconds for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
He
mean, you
just
got to come off of, especially if you're 3-10. I don't know what his record was as far as. Let's see,
he's
he's lost
been one of the
9 in a row.
Yeah, he's been one of the it's because though the last 3 years he's been one of the bigger players. And he didn't do much. I guess
Yeah.
he considered it was okay to continue doing so.
You just can't settle. You can't do that in dynasty. And the reason I asked you like the questions because I think you've done such a phenomenal job at like basically from where because you were here in the inception of this thing in
Yeah,
2019 when we did our startup, and to see that you've come from your team was bad. Like
it
I don't
was.
think you would
No,
argue with that. Your
no,
team
it
was
was
bad,
terrible.
and now you're going to be probably going to be the freaking two. No, you will be the 2 seed, in my
Yeah,
opinion. I think you will be at least.
I think so too.
Um, dude, that's incredible.
I
So
mean, I've given up a lot, but for me, it's realizing that how what I have done has allowed me to make a run, and I even think my team is viable for the next 2, maybe 3 years,
yeah,
because most of guys are young, they're still playing at a high level. Like even Aaron Jones, I could probably run him till he's 30. That
yeah. I
dude's
mean, he
he's
doesn't
so
see
good.
it, and he doesn't see. I mean, he doesn't get a Zeke type workload,
No,
you know.
no,
So no, man. And dude, and honestly, people shit on. I don't know if I think it was. I personally think it was a great trade with the trade that you and I did in the offseason.
yeah,
Nick Chubb for Montgomery in a first.
yeah, no, I
That's one of the biggest reasons, in my opinion, that your team has been so because Nick Chubb is so damn consistent.
Yeah. So like Nick Chubb to me the best trades I made, and I won't say I fully won the Tyreek Hill Waddle trade, but I think on the up and up I did win it because Jarvis Landry wasn't doing anything. I gave him a first. We knew Tyreek was gonna produce. We just didn't know how well with Tua, but
Mhm.
he's still what top 5?
Yeah, I mean, and Tyreek Hill should be. I think he's the wide receiver one actually in our. He's the wide
Yeah,
receiver 4 in our
in
in
the league.
our.
Hmm.
I guess our format, our scoring settings or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, he's had a wide receiver 2, 6, 4, 5, 2.
He's been
Last week he was the wide receiver 5.
he was wide
Like,
receiver 1 for like 3 weeks straight almost. He
yeah,
was he was
he's
having
been great.
time. Yeah.
And he's 28, man. I really do. I think he's going to be fine for at least 2 more. I think he's going to be great for at least 2 more years.
Yeah. I mean, he's got and he doesn't really seem like he gets injured all that much. He gets like little bumps and scrapes here, but I haven't seen a too heavy of an injury on him. Um, as long as he's been around, he's durable.
It's Julio. You could have said like, oh yeah, what happened with AJ Green? It's probably
Yeah.
Julio. These big-bodied, super athletic receivers. When they get one injury, it just seems to kind of, you
It
know,
keeps just yeah. Oh, you kind of went out a little bit.
Is it like a eight or something?
It's almost like you're too far away. I don't know.
Oh, like the
Yeah, there you go. I think
okay,
it was a mix of going too far off.
got it. I was just out here, just living life.
Relax, relaxing.
Right. Let's see what else. I mean, for Corey, I'm
I
looking at
think
his
Corey's
team.
doing like I think your brother's actually doing. Oh, wait, Corey or yeah, that Corey's your brother.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's trading at least. He's getting things. Oh gosh, he was so screwed over by he we might not mention. Um,
Voldemort.
yeah, Voldemort. But I think the fact that he's trading is good because he's got like Romeo Dubes, he's got Chris Olave, Ken Walker. Goodness, yeah, he's got a good young core, and he will do fine. I think it probably runs in the family. You guys are probably pretty decent at fantasy football.
Well, it's thank you, but he actually, I think he really got into it the past couple years.
Yeah,
But he's like me, where he like when he likes something, he like consumes every piece of information
yeah,
like that's out there.
yeah.
I think you're probably a little bit like that too.
I do. I got right into football and fantasy, and like when I actually really started getting into it, it's more fun, and especially if you're able to talk with with people who kind of had that same passion,
Right? Freaking, we can be nerds about everything. It's
right?
being an eclectic nerd. Like
Yes,
I've got a map of Middle Earth right there. I've got an American flag behind me, and then I've got a freaking fantasy football championship here. Like there's no, don't put yourself in a box, you know.
right.
But you're right, man. I guess I hadn't looked at his roster, and I was just looking at his record. But he's got a
Yeah,
good young team, and I think you're right. He had no picks. He's accrued um, 3 second round picks over the next
yeah,
couple years.
and
So
I think he's doing a great job with kind of keeping the right Pittsburgh players and then getting rid of some of them. Like he was I hate to say it, but he was spot on with getting rid of Najee. He was able to get a good trade off of him for Najee, and it just he got rid of the mess that he was left
yeah,
with.
yeah,
So
and it's crazy to say about a team that ended up being second last year, but
I know
it was just rough. Let's see, Toby, I think
he's been doing well. He's
he's
traded.
been pretty well.
Um,
Yeah, and
I
he's
think
improved.
his
5-8 this year.
yeah.
That's not
I
bad.
no. I think his team is serviceable. It's kind of like the middle of the line. The biggest thing he probably could do is hang the bait up with Sir Diggs because he can get so much for him.
All I know is I know for a fact from someone told me that he tried to trade him two first rounders. I've tried to trade him two first rounders for Diggs as well.
Yeah,
He won't come off of him, but you're right. But if he likes his team, then
he
that
likes
is
his
what it
team.
is. But
I
for
mean,
me,
he beat me yes last week.
yeah, I mean, for me, it's just my philosophy in Dynasty, which and being in Nubs or Noobs with me, like I
Yeah,
thought my team was pretty middle of the road, and I traded a bunch last year. I traded away Jonathan Taylor, I traded away Alvin Kamara,
yeah,
and I got a bunch of capital for him, and to kind of turned it around. But anyways,
yeah.
um,
No, it worked.
yeah, but that entails hitting on your picks. But I want to say something that's just hilarious. I haven't got to address this yet, besides in the chat. Jay literally drafted for the sole purpose of trying to keep me down. He all but admitted it the other
Oh
day in the
no.
chat. And I
Oh,
just
you
want to
don't know
say,
this.
I don't what?
we we semi conspired to make it slightly hard for you.
You
Well, we didn't
bastards.
even we didn't even realize it was essentially the same team with a few changes, but we were like, man, we've got to keep Eric out of there. And I mean, take it as a compliment. We see you as a threat. You got a great team, and we were just like, oh my god, we hate the fact that it didn't. I mean, worked, but it didn't at the same time.
It worked at first. I was 1-3. I was 1-3,
Yeah, I remember that too.
but
And then
now
everything
I'm
just
now I'm 10-3. So I don't know,
after a while, I stopped worrying about that, and I just said, you know what, just let me make it. That's all I care.
dude. That is the whole thing. Like, I get it. Like trying to block opponents and doing stuff like that, especially
Yeah,
in like redraft leagues, it makes more sense to like,
yeah,
oh, I don't really need this player. I'm going to pick him up anyways because I don't want my competition to have him. But
yeah,
in Dynasty, you just got to focus on your team. It's really hard. I know. I will say this, and I don't know if this was said to me in confidence, but I'm going to say it anyways. Keith has told, like, we talk all the time. We DM each other on the Sleeper app all the time,
yeah.
and I think personally, this is my advice for you, Keith, because I know you'll watch this. Uh, don't worry about everybody else's team. Worry about your own team. Just don't worry about what I'm doing. Okay, you don't have to trade every time I trade.
Oh, I fortunately for me, I'm so glad I started trading so much more. I used to be the non-trading guy until I realized how important it is. And the funny part is I've actually used everything I've learned here to help this girl that's been wanting to get into our league. But she's been listening. Like she's always like, "Hey, would this trade make sense? And would this trade make sense?" And and apparently it's been winning her some games. And I was like, you know what? That works.
Well, we'll tell her she's got a spot. Because Cam knows this already. He doesn't want to be in the Nubs League anymore, the Noobs,
Oh,
however you want to pronounce it. So
yeah,
she can definitely, unfortunately, she can have his team. It's not super great, but he does. He at least has one first rounder for me
yeah.
in
I think
there.
he's got like 2 or 3 this year, this next coming year.
So that might be a nice place for her to kind of start out
Yeah,
and do everything. But yeah, she's definitely got
yeah,
a spot.
yeah. I told her she's got till the end, like to the beginning of next season, pretty much to decide.
Well, frankly, as soon as playoffs are over,
Yeah.
she can pop in because I
I'll
want
let
her
her
to
know.
to do off season stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll let her know.
Because you know how important it is in Dynasty for off season thing. Because dude, that's
Yeah,
the trades are going to open back up as soon as the playoffs are over. Um, as soon as I win in Nubs, Keith,
yeah.
that's for you. Um, then yeah, I want to open trades back up and do all that stuff. So
Oh yeah,
yeah,
no, that makes sense. And I think she's just really super open to learning. So I think that's
hell
the
yeah,
biggest
man.
thing for her.
Hell yeah, and I love, and I just as long as she's active, you know how Noobs is so active. I love it.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm still working on the kind of the entrance theme for D&DR. It's man, it takes so much work.
Dude, that's why I told Kim. I was like, man, I was so thankful for all the ones that he put together, like edited for the
Yeah,
for Dynasty Talk Weekly.
it's a ton.
But now that I say that, Cam, stop being lazy and go ahead and do another one, please. But dude, I tell you what, the playoffs are looking fun. They're looking
Yep.
awesome. I'm gonna go ahead. I will give you. We'll get off here in like maybe 5 minutes or so. I'm gonna give you
Yeah,
my opinion on who's going to be in the top six in the matchups, and I want you to break those down for us because we
sure.
got Cam's opinion, we got Keith's opinion on it. So I'm just curious what you think. So me and you, first round buys, we ain't got to worry about nobody. The great thing
No.
is, so the one seed is going to play the 4-5 game. The two seed is going to play the 3-6 game. So I'm going to say Keith gets in at 6,
I do too.
and I'm going to say that let's see, who do we think? I'm going to say Jonathan. No, no, no. I'm sorry. Clint is going to get in at the 3. So we got Clint versus Keith.
I with Clint versus Keith, I still go with Keith because Clint he's got a good team. I think my his biggest issue comes in the form of like Lawrence, Sunshine, and Swift, and even like Hunt, because like they're just not seeing. Well, Swift has got an uptick, but Hunt's just not seeing as much of the field. T Law's too inconsistent, and it's just really hard to justify them being good enough to beat Keith's team because unfortunately Keith can beat any one of us pretty easily if his team performs. He is got a high ceiling.
Yep.
Um, yeah, and I just I can't see I can't see Clint performing well enough to just overcome that.
I think I would agree with that too. I think Keith would move on, and
Hmm.
then we've got Jonathan versus Jason in the 4-5 game. I think that would be a very interesting game.
It is. I mean, God, Jonathan. I thought he was going to be a bad team like this coming year. Like we knew Mixon and Jacobs were going to be middle of the line. Nope. Last few weeks, these guys have been easily top three. Period. When playing, Mixon had his big
He's a
50.
couple games out. Yeah,
Yeah, big 50 game when last time he played with a couple others, and he's been more consistent. Um, so I thought he was going to be bad, but no. Um, with him versus Jason, I think Jason just has the bigger, better potential team over Jonathan right now. It's always a question. He's got his weakness with wide receiver though is probably what would lose him the game if he loses
hmm,
anything. But he's just got so much flex because
he does.
if Kamara is healthy, he's got them with his Miles Sanders, Derrick Henry trade. Oh God, that Derrick Henry trade.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
I
scary.
think it's
I
gonna.
think Jason,
Yeah, so I was that was what I was going to bring up was the fact that he has Miles Sanders, Derrick Henry,
Jalen
who Derrick,
Hurts,
yeah, and Jalen Hurts. Derrick Henry's playoff schedule is the
super soft.
Chargers, terrible against the run. Houston, he's going to run for 200 yards and 4 touchdowns, which
Yep.
sucks because let's say that Jason does move on, that's the week he would be playing me. Damn it.
Uh huh.
And then if Jason does get to the championship game, they do play Dallas. That is not a great matchup.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That's a rough matchup for running backs, wide receivers, and quarterbacks, really.
The
But the first 2 games of the playoffs, Jason's Derrick Henry might just drag him to victories on both of those.
No kidding. And it's that bad. Like Henry's so good.
Yeah, I mean, and then I love Mike Evans. I love T. Higgins. He's
Yes.
I do. I would say that Jason has a slightly better team there, but I think personally that'll be the best first round matchup.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
then we'll go Keith versus you.
I don't like it. I don't like it. Honestly, though, I think I can sneak by Keith, and I think if his team had been performing the best, or even 80% of the best of what he could have been performing all year, one, he wouldn't have this record. Two, I would have no problem just straight up saying he would beat me in that round. But I think his inconsistency is going to be it just seems to be his biggest crutch. Like his inconsistency almost lost him his sixth seed.
It really did. And back in the day, I would have said, let's say the first like weeks 1 through 10 or something. I would have been like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's just bad luck. But
right.
really, he's got one of the least amount of points scored against him in the entire
Yeah,
league. I think he might be second. Yeah, he's
yeah,
got the second fewest points scored against him. So there's really no, to me, that doesn't seem like a lot of luck there. It's just more, yeah, he scores 130 1 week and then 190 the next week. Like you have to be
yeah,
in the playoffs, man. If the team, if your team doesn't score 180 or more in the playoffs,
yeah.
you're not moving on. It's just not going to happen.
And I even looked at myself because I was curious. I was like, what are my scoring numbers? And I don't think I've scored too low for most of my rounds. I think the lowest ones have been the losses,
Mhm.
which would end up being. And I think the last two losses I had were within a couple points. I think
Yeah,
your loss is the biggest one I've had all year. Son
yeah.
of a bitch.
I mean, dude, you scored 170, basically 175 last week
Yeah.
in a loss.
Yeah.
That's to me, that's bad luck, honestly, because
Yeah.
you played the second
Oh
highest
God.
scoring person in the league.
Yeah.
But all right, so then we move on. Jason and myself. This would be 2 times in the last 3 years. Jason and I played in the
In the
semifinals
semis.
of the
Yeah.
playoffs.
I'm not even gonna say either one of you guys is gonna have the definitive advantage. I think you would just because your roster is overall stronger, in my opinion. Um, but this is one of those matches where it probably is going to come down to the wire of like 10 points, maybe 10 points. And you
Yeah,
guys are probably going to end up scoring like 210. if not more, just because you
Yeah,
guys, I mean, just the players are hard hitters.
and dude, so I definitely think that I think my roster's better than his, but
It is.
it legitimately is that Derrick Henry versus the Houston Texans in Week 16.
Yeah.
I mean, he's gonna. I'm telling you right now, he's gonna run for 200 yards and like 3 touchdowns. It's gonna be ridiculous. He's gonna score. Derrick Henry's gonna put up like 45 points.
Yeah. If I can survive in noobs, I'm expecting Derrick Henry to run all over whoever I get in the semis.
You're right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good thing. I mean, I will still say that I'm gonna win that one.
Yeah.
Just I think
I would too.
even if Henry gets 45 points, I
Yeah.
think with Adams, with all these other guys, it would really just depend because my team goes as Dallas goes
Yeah.
and it wasn't really not like definitely not a homer pick for me because I don't really give a shit about like that in fantasy football. But
Yeah.
let's see, week 16, the week 16 one might be rough because Dallas plays Philly that week. So it might come down to like my team has terrible matchups and Jason
Yeah.
has a few good
Great
matchups, and
matchups. Yeah.
I shouldn't even say yes, great matchups. He
Yeah.
may win. I'm gonna put myself there, but then
Yeah.
it comes down to you and I, my friend.
I'd even hate to say it. I just you've got the stronger team. I think my struggle is some of the flex. Now, good thing that guys like James Cook are getting in more snap counts, but I think it's just so difficult because like even with my other flex in say Rondale, D Hop is more likely to have a good round than Rondale is.
Mm.
So you're gonna take my targets there. CD is literally the main target, if not the only target, in over freaking Dallas.
Yeah,
So,
the
and
only
then,
one.
yeah, and then, Kelsey gets you 20, 30 points on a normal. It's just, you've just got the overall better team at the current time. Um, I mean, you could have an off week and I could still win, but it's to
Yeah,
me, it's more unlikely. And I
yeah. I
hate
mean,
to say it.
no, you're good. I mean, I agree. I would put the odds at that, but I still think I would like to see, in my opinion, the two best teams are my team and your team. I
Yeah,
would like to see us in the final. And frankly, dude, Josh Allen is a
he's
freak of nature. So
yeah.
he could, I mean, he could drag you to a championship too, you know.
Well, I mean, honestly, if my four guys show out, let's say Allen goes off and gets me 40 points, that's not unbelievable at all. You could see Nick Chubb getting a 25 to 30 pointer. You
Yeah.
could see Aaron Jones getting a 25, 30 pointer. That's what? So 40, that's already 90 points off of that. And if Tyreek Hill goes off for a 25, 30 pointer, that's already 130, give or take.
Your ceiling on your guys, you have a higher ceiling on your team than I have on my team.
Yeah.
Like my team is I have a ceiling, sure, but
Yeah.
it's mine's like built for floor.
Yeah.
Granted, the floor is pretty high, but
It is
it's yeah,
very
dude.
high.
But I'll tell you what, I would actually look forward to seeing that. And I know for a fact at least you would do like a debate type of video with me for the championship. We've never had one of those because it's
Oh,
been
yeah.
me and Burnham, and me and
Oh,
Corey.
God. Yeah.
And those Burnham's not wasn't a talker. Corey's not really a video talker guy. So it would be interesting.
Yeah.
I'll be
I'd be
rooting
fine.
no shit, I will be rooting for you. That's a fact.
I will be rooting for just everybody. I would rather beat you or lose to you at 90, 95, 100% because we're not all going to be 100%. Ain't no
No,
way.
no.
But I'd rather beat you at the best than, you know, to win out of a technicality. It wouldn't be satisfying enough.
To me, a W is a W. I'll take it. If
Right.
Josh Allen goes down, I'll be like, oh man. No, I'm not wishing for it. I ain't
No,
wishing for
I
that, I
know.
promise.
I
But
know.
I would still talk shit like I just won the fucking Super Bowl. So,
Oh, yeah.
you know. Well, dude, it was absolutely a pleasure to have you on here, man.
Yeah, man.
Uh, we'll have to get you back on here more. I feel like I say that to every time you come on because you don't come on as much as Keith does. Keith
Yeah.
he doesn't ask. He's just like, hey, send me the thing. I was like, I didn't even tell you about it. I was like, how do you know I'm recording? And he's like, send it to me.
Oh, my
I
God.
don't know. He stalks me or something. It's a crazy guy.
Yeah. No,
But
I'll be on.
anyways, dude. Yeah, brother. All right, man. Well, we'll holler at you later. We'll end this thing, put it up on YouTube. And yeah, good luck to everybody this upcoming week, except for Keith. Zero
Cam.
luck to you.
No
And
luck to
Cam.
Cam.
Yeah. Cam, yeah, he sucks. He's terrible. All right, brother. I'll let you later.
We'll see you, man.